Let's put that ban phase up before we go too deep into the rabbit hole. So Cafe and Clubhouse will be excluded from the matchup. So sometimes what you have to do actually in a best-of-1 series for Pro League is prepare for your next bigger matchup by playing one map that you really don't want to play in the day before.
Yeah, sometimes you can kind of dispense with a map that way. Although, of course, if you know your opponent that you know for next week is going to play that map. But Coastline, ooh, this is a good one. This is the one that they went the longest number of rounds against each other.
Perfect game.
Yeah, that was our first like infinite OT, and whoo.
Yeah, and then people understood why infinite OT. As far as I know, it won't be happening again. So
that was legendary though for sure, and that's why it'll be very interesting to see how these guys play in this map right now, because both of them know it very well. Obviously, when you can go 21, 22 rounds back and forth on this map, you guys know each other very well and how you play on it. But now they've got one change up with Uno. So, maybe they'll play it slightly differently. And also, you've got the change of, Dan in there, and it could go down very differently here. However, I don't think this is going to be quite the 7-0 we just saw last match.
Well, what does everybody think back at home or wherever you may be? So
maybe we got a lot more Empire fans now than we used to. There we go. That's pretty close. It's interesting to see someone contending with G2 in terms of favor in these. Yeah, Empire's really making a name for itself. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a huge buyout at some point if they keep this up, just because they're doing so well.
I mean, Empire is like the biggest Russian organization right now. So.
Yeah, but I just
like in general.
I know. I gotta say, I'm just. I gotta imagine
if they get bought out by the Russian government, maybe.
There you go.
Gazprom is finally gonna sponsor Team Empire and like actually buy them out, much like
there you go.
Other places in this continent.
You never know on that. I'm just saying, like, they're just doing so well, and they've been with the same org for so long. But Nomad gonna go. We saw some effectiveness in Nomad last matchup, but not really a dramatic amount.
And we didn't get to see much of this team using it on attack. So.
But it's not a Lion ban for G2 at least.
Yeah. Oh, this is a change of pace. Again, this is Coastline, so rotations are always something that you need to worry about.
I feel like if with there goes the Capitao.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trending up there.
Good operator.
But with Lion not being banned, though, I actually can't see either of these teams wanting to play it much. Like Empire doesn't seem to fit into their strat most of the time in the way that they play.
No.
And G2 don't really like the operator in general. I mean, that's not to say they won't abuse it if they really feel like they want to. But that being said, I just feel like it probably won't see a lot of play here. Mira and Echo to go. Pretty much a foregone conclusion most of the time.
You only ban 6 operators.
Yeah.
They refuse to ban anything else. So that's fine. On defense, that is.
Yeah.
So far, we've had 2 bans on Capitao.
I'm still saying I feel like there needs to be slight nerfs to Mira and Echo just so they can free up those bans.
How would you nerf Mira?
I've said it before, explosive damage destroying the canister. So that a grenade or anything else behind, so that it's not just dependent on like a Twitch drone. So that there are alternative ways to pop it would be my way. Just because it's a small nerf, but it's one that can be exploited in big ways, given the right opportunities.
It's an idea.
I don't know. But we'll see the 6-pick Demazi and Gridlock going to replace that Nomad play, as many teams have been doing, although some teams trying to combine the two. Fabian going to be playing Namazi, and that should be interesting to see if he's able to combine with Pengu to deny a lot of Empire's droning. So honestly, this is the play. Against a team like Empire who drones very effectively and does a good job working off crossfires off each other, anything you can do to deny that intel and give yourself the ability to get good positioning without them knowing, absolutely. And you've got also the Black and the Evil Eyes as well combined with that. So overall, you've got good denial of intel and good intel yourself. So G2's in a great position operator-wise to do work against Team Empire. But Empire also has one counter to that in the Jackal to be able to stop that. Also, the Gridlock tracks to be able to try and stop a lot of those flanks from sneaking around. So overall, very well matched with each other. Dan, though, with the operator that doesn't really counter anything, just runs in and shoots. So we'll see if that ends up being really useful or just kind of dead weight in terms of utility on the team. But
well, Empire have been talking about this ever since their victory at the finals in Milan. Actually, if you guys didn't watch last weekend, that is, Empire are the Russian champions as well currently. For the repeat
They've
season.
won Milan twice now, too. So they're the reigning Milan champions.
They've won Milan twice, one with the Euro Cup, one with Pro League. They've won the Russian Nationals now twice. And there's, of course,
That's not a
the
surprise
2
at all.
seasons. Yeah, so
Nice catch.
they actually lost to Forza in the semifinals and then had to play from the lower bracket all the way back up, which just means that they kind of padded their stats even harder.
Small hiccup.
Yeah, well, we'll see the Habana being used to open up the holes here to enter into the site, at least into the bar, well, into blue bar. So Empire really just putting their foot down.
Yeah. We'll see if Jackal, Joystick, always playing Jackal as it is, or IQ, is going to be effective. We've seen him also have a lot of trouble with Jackal at times, but that's the important thing, right, is he's doing his job to contain the roamers while they're doing that, while they're pushing heavy onto site. And Dan just playing long angles with the G36 from above might not be the most effective use of his 3-speed up there, but at least he has the ACOG on that gun. Jackal's tracking Fabian here, who's going to be waiting for a push on him.
The entirety of the hole here has been opened up, so it's a straight walk and no need to crouch forward. So Uno, though, is on the floor trying to look. There's opponents by the doorway, but nobody's moving in through there. Dan, because he's all the way up on the roof, can continue to drone on in. Actually, he went all the way back down. Trying to fight against the Maestro. He's playing here. It's a big fight between the fraggers. Skantaroketti on the up. Karjika entering, and he actually spots Goga on the floor, but a bit too slow on the reaction, and Karjika will be felled.
It's the warm-up round.
Mozzie here just turning right around the corner, and Fabian just somehow alive behind the desk is the Maestro as well. Tyler turns around and finds the headshot as Skantaroketti takes Dan out of the equation. Mozzie spotted in the back, Fabian 1 bullet away from death, but everything being expended from the Type 89. Nitro Cell thrown in, but the tracks are already on it. Scyther will find 1 kill, turns around the corner, but Uno has already rotated back. Shepard and Joystick with 2, and then Joystick the last on Uno to shut him down. Joystick realizing this very swiftly comes around from behind and makes sure that the flank is clear and open for Empire.
And that's the thing, that match was down entirely to a series of trades, a lot of 1v1s being lost and then traded. But it was Joystick at the end to come kind of out of nowhere because he spent so long hunting the roamers, trying to hunt down Fabian, but Fabian was dead, that he was kind of playing the long flank. But Empire also won that off of having early control in terms of pushing the site. They put pressure on G2 early. They didn't win all their fights, but having that continuous pressure on the site forced G2's attention there to make sure they were continuing to deny it. Goga, of course, not being able to reposition, getting easily traded. It was a great initial kill, though. His ability to catch Karzeka before Karzeka was able to catch him, making a big difference. But you see there, 3 kills for G2 versus the 5 for Empire. They just weren't able to trade back fast enough. And Joystick coming in with the long flank. Now, part of what was happening with Joystick when he was struggling on Jackal was him dying early. Him being allowed to kind of do his thing, and G2 playing maybe a little bit passive and kind of lurky at the same time. Just, it worked well for what Joystick was trying to do. And despite all the drone denial that G2 had, it didn't seem to make enough difference. We'll see, though, and take 2 of the bar if they play things differently. Now, they're going to be expecting Empire to do pretty much the same thing because that's generally what Empire does. So they know pressure is going to come on blue bar early. Will G2 be in a better position to counter this time? Or will Empire know, how G2 is playing their positions as well? So, for example, Dan might not spend so much time on the roof not catching anyone.
Well, Fabian's going to be doing a similar thing to what he did last round, but actually will descend down into the security room, and Dan will go back again to the top floor. So Fabian setting up at least one of his pests, and he has control of 1 drone, which is something that Empire might have to worry about, at least having the flank watch potential increased for G2. Karjeka will come in from the back into the office. Dan continues to drone as he did before.
Yeah, it's not a position where he's getting a lot of work done from up there, but if he's just droning first to get an idea how to play this, it might be good. I don't know if this is the most effective use. I feel like he could have been a bit more of a spearhead last round earlier on. I mean, he did eventually lose his fight against Kanto, though, trying to push that lobby. But there are other places he can push. However, it looks like he could be going back for lobby again.
I don't think there's much that you can do when it comes to a spearhead when you have a Maestro playing behind the desk and there's nobody really to support you.
No, that's where you need that Capitao.
Exactly. And because you don't have that access to that utility here, you kind of have to play things slow and not get over aggressive, because we see G2 and we know how quickly they can capitalize on these sorts of small mistakes. Maestro playing behind the desk, as we saw before, is still Kanto Ricchetti, and Dan just on the outside, close to the Lambo.
He could almost use even a remote breach to kind of push him back if he knows he's back there. Although obviously Karjeka might be a bit more effective in helping him if he was playing over there, but doing the same thing as last time, pushing blue early.
Yeah, running both the Ashe and the Zofia makes a lot of sense when you're playing on Coastline, because it's the map that has the most in terms of soft destruction potential. So Scyther will open up the entirety of the wall here into the blue bar. Fire being brought in by Ashe. Dan still coming around from the kitchen. He'll try to shut down the flank without getting aggressive and pushing the lobby on his own. I think this is a better way of doing things.
I fully agree with this. Pushing the kitchen, I think, is the smarter play. Set up some flank, and then it gets Fabian in the process. So again, just much, much smarter in terms of leaving Kanto to be useless and slow. But Uno, at least with a run out to trade him back, still taking out Fabian early was worth it, I think.
Evil Eye eliminated as well as the Valkyrie actually drops. Scyther pulls out the bearing 9. He fires onto 1, but he's unsure of the second. Karjeka will find a kill for himself and Pengu. As Pengu rotated in the mute, Uno last alive here and is in kitchen. The tracks are everywhere. Karjeka fires and he finds Uno. Finn will go down. Well done, Karjeka again, an Empire, just really getting better every single round here, at least in the initial 2. Breaking into the bar. This will spark things for G2 to change the site. It only makes sense. And hookah billiards. There you go.
I like to see you see all the tracks that were laid out in the doorway as well, coming from kind of the kitchen hallway area, to just completely force them to bottleneck through the one rotate hole that they have in, or maybe the other one if it was vaultable. That's a tough spot to be in when you're G2, and Goga playing a somewhat predictable spot did not work out well for him, losing that gunfight, but at least it was traded off that time. Still, not great. Fabian, though, going to sneak in rather than 6-picking to the Mozzie, going to be 6-picking from it to the Kayed as they're going to be going to a different bomb site. And Goga going to be playing the dock of all things, something Kanto had usually been excelling at previously, but he's going to be on the Maestro again. And we talked about this before. Kanto on Maestro hasn't been necessarily the best in terms of his effectiveness. Same with Shate on Maestro. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Finns struggle a little bit with Maestro, but I don't know. It hasn't seemed to be the most effective thing other than just denying lobby last time. And Dan's rotate around the kitchen to pick off Fabian instead. Pretty much made that kind of somewhat of a null factor. And I was glad to see Dan not spending his entire time on the roof, instead just deciding to try and be a little more effective. So we'll see how things go down this round, though, for G2. At least it's a different bomb site. It's going to be hookah now, which means you know the setup is going to be pushing for behind the bomb, which makes it all the more important that Joystick stay alive, because his smokes, generally smokes are going to be pretty crucial for pushing that. Of course, if Maestro's Evil Eye is still left alive, that makes it a little bit harder. But Joystick on the roam hunt early. Again, this is risky to be doing so just because your smokes are so important later. However, if you frag out or even just pivot to just attacking hookah, it could still make a difference in terms of you being able to play that without the smokes.
This is where you'd love to have Karjeka or Dan, either or together, really, to deal with the player behind the bar.
Karjeka it is.
Yeah, he's gonna come in and at least have a drone to get some information, but you need to kind of kill the Kayed who's playing in the back, and killing him from below is much easier when you have an Ashe charge or anything of the such. Even Joystick's gonna just keep focusing on this position.
Ooh, nice.
He'll analyze, then he'll find it, and Karjeka on the reverse repel should be able to spot the Kayed in the back, firing into him, but where did he disappear? Fabian, where did you go?
He's just playing for time at this point. It's working well, though.
And that's exactly what they need to do here. G2, in the first 2 rounds, has spread up so much on the ground floor. And here, they just need to have some sort of concentrated effect on the site itself. Just because doing the damage from below is always something you need to worry about when it comes to Empire, because that's what they usually will be doing.
Yeah, they don't need the buck when they've got Joystick with the ITA.
Yep, you have, well, the breaching charges are not going to be big for this sort of side take, but again, breaching charges are good from the top down, not the reverse. It's one day maybe you can have those where you can just throw it up into the ceiling and it works out. But you have the Ashe, you have the Zofia.
They use those tracks as well to deny that rotation from luggage. There, Fabian finally falls to Scyther, who opened up an angle.
The entirety of A is now open. There's one set of C4 to be played, because Fabian was just killed there. I believe he was not using the impact grenades on the Clyde. Nitro Cell more like, and okay, rotation Uno. You lucky man.
That's why you put the life preserver on.
Continues to fire into the back, is putting pressure, is now the main power for Empire. Nitro Cell from Pengu will find Karjeka, but Goga's already dead. Shepard for the second one as well, taken out with the F90. Uno wins out the duel against Scyther as he walks on into the hallway. It's a 3v2, but the diffuser should go down. There you go. The Ash turns away, but finds Kanto Rocchetti on a quick peek back into the site. Uno last alive, being shot from behind, and Empire seem to be everywhere at every single moment. The instant they know they have an advantage somewhere, they just drop and go somewhere else, and G2 just cannot keep up with their speed.
One thing they're doing very well is containing G2. I mean, there is positions where they're allowing G2 to sit certain positions, but they're kind of containing them there. There's never really a moment where we're seeing G2 pulling off these really heavy flanks or getting away with a great move around, and I got to credit some of that to Gridlock as well in terms of denying those rotations, but overall Empire is just... We're going to be here. We're going to start pushing your site early, and you're not really going to do anything about it. We're going to deny your rotations. We're going to have people like Joystick playing around for flanks, as well as Dan, especially because Dan is not really being shut down super effectively either.
No, because he's staying away for the first half of the round until he's needed. Now, this is something we touched upon in the very first matchup. Right at the end of it, you said something extremely intelligent. I don't know. It doesn't...
Oh,
it never happens.
Yeah.
It never... It never really happens.
I hope someone clipped it.
Something to hang up on your wall.
Anyways.
But what the point was that you are dictating the pace. And in this case...
Playing your own game.
Empire are dictating the pace. They are running away with it. And G2 just cannot seem to find their footing in the match so far.
No, it's very difficult against a team like G2. It's one of those things that's counterintuitive because for most teams, being predictable makes it easy to be countered. Empire, it seems to work in their favor because unless you find a crack, it just doesn't work that great. Now, honestly, it sounds easy to do, but basically the way to stop Empire is to get early kills on Empire. Because they crossfire so well for each other, because they protect each other, because they work so cohesive as a unit, you need early kills on some of the important players. And Kanto says, okay, I got you there. I'm going to kill Joystick early. Now those footprints going to be a little bit safer, but Joystick or Dan isn't one of those players that I'm talking about. It's the site attack players. It's people like Scyther up there with a huge amount of kills. It's people like Shepard and Karjeka doing work early. I mean, yes, the early kill from Goga, for example, onto Karjeka wasn't a huge game changer, but it's kills on some of those site pushers, especially a kill even on Shepard, for example, stopping him from getting those tracks down. Some of those core attack players, getting the kill on them versus some of the flank players that we're seeing like Joystick or Dan, is going to make more of a difference. However, getting Joystick down early is still useful. It's not a bad thing to have.
I think that's definitely a way to put it.
Yeah. But it's just not the crack in the egg that I think G2 needs right now.
No, because it hasn't really been the extra manpower that's been giving Empire the advantage. It really has just been the fact that they're running circles around G2 for the first 3 rounds here. And Shepard has controlled the entryway or the big window, turns around and can't really find anybody. The rest of G2 are kind of playing inside of the theater. They can't really pull out of this position at that point. Goga will connect. Kanto Rocchetti with another one. That's a double kill for him in this round, leaving Shepard and Dan last 2 alive. Now this is finally an advantage that G2 find themselves in. All 5 left alive with full HP. They're sitting pretty for it. But Dan will just come onto the site and get shot instantly by Goga. Goga finishes him off, and it's now Shepard on his own versus the 5 in a nigh impossible position.
Yeah, definitely looking very good for G2 this round. They seem to have figured out a bit better of a play on their 3rd bomb site of all places, too. We'll see if Shepard can clutch this out. He has had many clutches on Coastline in the past, usually as a Dokebi, and I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Uno in a great position to cover this. I got to imagine Goga also going to be continuing to reinforce this from an angle. Shepard, though, taking down Fabian, not a big deal at this point. I mean, I got to imagine most of his goo mines were already up. There is at least a smoke in play for Shepard, but it doesn't matter as he gets smoked by Uno from another run out here. The track's not really factoring in, despite that you see 1 or 2 being opened up, but the drone staring straight at him, not making any difference. All the denial in the world can do nothing when you're facing against so many angles from Empire there. So finally, a round on the board for G2. So it's not going to be a 7-0 sweep like we saw last match, but still I got to imagine at least a 4-2 going to go over for Empire here, as now that was the only site they've been able to win, and they're going to play all 4. We see Bar twice, Hookah once, Kitchen once, and now Penthouse. Are they just going to have to pull out all the stops here and try to really counter Empire and test whether or not Empire have pushes for all the sites? Because G2 just giving up on their 2 primaries so far here.
Yeah, they really have not been able to find a single footing in the matchup so far, but what I liked about G2 in the previous round, and really ended up giving them an advantage in it, is controlling the top floor as well as they did. We didn't quite see how Kanto Raketti found his kills, especially their second one, but at least shutting down players that were playing the flank actually aided in this position. There was nobody to pressure on top of what Dan and their Gridlock was
You saw some movement from them as well, too, from players like Pangu and stuff rotating around, just giving themselves positioning early, and Shepard wasn't able to deny a whole lot with his tracks early on because of his teammates dying so quickly.
That's how it should be, really, but here, round 5, it's Lion being picked up by Empire. So
a pulse from Fabian as well.
They pick up the heavy artillery literally after the one round they lose.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if that's a really big changeup. I got to imagine Empire may or may not know what the bomb site's going to be, though, because I wouldn't have anticipated Penthouse coming out next. I would have figured they would have gone back to Hookah and tried that for a second time, because I don't think their Hookah defense was all that bad.
Actually, we've had like 0 Thatchers being played today so far.
Yeah, I guess no need to ban it, apparently. It just isn't going to be played. There's too many other attack operators that players want to play, which is, I mean, a great position for Siege to be in.
Well, the big problem is here for Empire is that they need to clear out that bottom floor. Once they do, then they should have a clear entry into the bedroom, but then they'll have to watch out for the singular C4 that Goga will have later on in the round. Why I'm saying singular is that they need to clear out Fabian, which will remove one of those nitros that they would be so worried about. So, analysis from Joystick and Kowalski will give him the information. I'm not sure who he spotted on this one. There we go. Yeah, it's a ping upstairs. Kanto Raketti being tagged just a tiny bit. And Empire realized that there's Fabian inside of the kitchen. Hands in the fridge.
No one usually repels like that. That is an angle they're not going to be expecting. I like the unpredictability from Dan.
Look at the amount of players that now rotate down from G2. They're just firing close to Fabian, and they want to support him. It's very understandable. You lose this bottom floor, then your entire top floor defense has been compromised. And Empire should be wise to this trickery by G2s to have Uno, Fabian, and Kanto Raketti downstairs.
They might even just consider going for a top floor rush and find a place to plant if they can, or distract while they do so, because 5 alive on both sides and already 2 minutes burned for a Penthouse attack here is really not great. They've got some smokes to come out here to try and do some work, but in the meantime, C4s are going to potentially come out as well as counter smokes there. So this could really honestly go either way at this point.
Shepard will find Kanto Raketti, so that's one player in the flank taken away. What you really want to break down here is any Nitro Cell play, and I'm not sure if Goga is still bringing that Nitro Cell. I mean, we want to take a look at that at some point. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. There you go.
Both Nitro Cells still up.
Yeah, so for Empire right now, they can think like, even if both hit, we still lose 2 players and we would still have the advantage. Lion will freeze 1 player in position. Actually, no. Fabian will keep on moving downstairs and finds a kill on Dan as Siler gets Uno and takes him away. Joystick turning around the corner and finds Fabian. Nitro Cell cannot be used, but Goga's already done his work in the top. Pengu taken away. Goga turns in from behind in the lounge, but the plant's already coming down, and now those reinforced walls are kind of playing against them. The Habana will give out information as Goga has found it. There's 2 players, and they're 1 tap away. He pre-fires around the corner. The Lion frees him in position for just a moment. This was the last E1D. Goga turns around, pre-fires into the Lion. Triple kill. Has 1 more to go. He can dive out, and this is beautifully played by Joystick. He needs to edge this so perfectly. Goga gets up on the bed to try and close it out, but Joystick is just toying with him. Goga, he still, again, knows he cannot dive out. It's all done. Goga needs to hold on to it right here, right now. Still trying to stick it. Pre-fire in from Joystick, and there's nothing that Goga can do. Joystick and Empire put a 4th round on the board. It's
always a big risk planting on the bed in that you have to expose yourself significantly more to do so, but you see the reasoning for doing.
Yep.
That right there is what killed Goga's attempt to be able to do much about it, because Joystick, just like you said, played it smart. All he had to do was just pre-fire him occasionally. I mean, Goga had to get lucky and time it perfectly in terms of peeking against Joystick as well in order to win that. And like you said, could not jump out, would have had to rotate for so long to be able to get back. I mean, maybe there's a possibility had he killed him right when the plant went down, or very close to it, that he could have had time left to rotate back around, as he's not the slowest operator on Earth, I suppose, but it's still a tough position to be in. Fabian, again, going to change up what he's playing finally to bring out the Clash this time. Really, they're seeming to just need to try and do something desperate at this point to do something. At least the Capitao not in play to counter the Clash, but the Zofia from Karjeka, I got to imagine going to be something to help do that. Lion again going to be brought here. Shepard and Scyther, though. We always talk about Joystick, Karjeka, and Dan, and this is really the support show right now. You're seeing them really come alive when they're losing some of those heavy fragging players. So it's nice to see that really everyone on Empire can show up, and that, of course, is why it's 4-1 right now. And at best, G2 could come right from this first half with a 4-2, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see it go 5-1 into the second half.
Well, that's definitely a big conversation to be had. Maybe we'll have a longer day today, or we'll have a very quick one. That's something to be decided and to be determined. Now, interesting part about the reinforcements here from G2 is that they have a split 1-to-1. Nicely done by Uno. Just runs on out and finds Joystick. Okay.
Runouts have been his success this match.
Honestly, this is what you need. Usually, this is from my own perspective. Uno seems to have the jitters when Joystick is playing on the other side. And when you eliminate him, it really gives G2 more confidence, and specifically Uno.
Well, it also means you can roam a little more safely as well, because you're not going to be tracked by those footprints, and Uno is going to be playing on that roam. So yeah, those jitters gone. Not to mention Fabian, who often is the one to get tracked, is going to be able to roam freely. Especially being on the Clash, right? You don't want people to know where you are. You want to just kind of show up, and all of a sudden they're flummoxed on what to do to try and counter you. We'll see if that makes a difference, though. I mean, obviously the Lion is one of the operators who can't really be countered too well by the Lion is going to be Fabian on that Clash as well. So I think that's a smart play. It's just going to be down to positioning from Fabian and whether or not he gets caught off guard by a flank. If he doesn't, he can be very effective this round in denying a lot. And they are roaming a little bit more heavy. You see him helping and backing up Uno as well on that. So far, though, things getting a bit slowed down after that initial kill on the Joystick. Now they have to play a little more cautiously. And it puts a little bit more work on Dan to try and do some a better flank positioning and try and get a better idea where they're playing at. But it also is a situation now where they have no Mossy and they have no Mute. So Drone's going to be a little more effective for Empire this round, but also a lot more critical in terms of finding out these positions. There will be Valkyrie Black Eye cameras, try and get some intel for the defense as well as those Black Eyes, or the Evil Eyes. Kanto, though, speaking of Evil Eyes, going to get kill on Scyther. That is any kind of hard breach denied. This looks like a round that is trending pretty heavily now towards a 5-2 situation for 4-2 situation for G2 going into that second half.
Well, Goga will take a bit of damage, but swiftly heal himself back up. Karjeka trying to find anybody behind the small bar, and there is somebody there, but is a bit too far from the mark. Dan will find one, and then quickly dispatched by Pengu. No utility left to destroy the barbed wire. Shepard and Karjeka are last alive. The Lion is spraying in, but will not be able to find anyone from the ruins into the pool table. The Clash is just standing there defiant. You can use your stuns there, the lifeline that Zofia has access to demolish Fabian, but it's a bit of a stretch in this case.
The upside is they have the Lion and the Zofia, and the reason I say that is you can have Karjeka focused on the Clash, while then the Lion goes out to stop any kind of flank on you, which of course the Clash is going to be distracting for. That gives you a higher opportunity to be able to take out that Clash. But at the same time, you know, you've got to time that perfectly. Not a lot of time left.
They have to come right on up, and the Clash already knows what's going on. Flashes into Fabian will not affect him. You can go and knife him, but there's no time left. Karjeka will find one on Pengu. The E1D will be used as G2 will just win it off of time. There's two last alive. Empire got close, but close is not enough, and the Clash crowd control wins perfectly. That's an excellent and smart play from G2 on round 6.
Yeah, definitely what they need to do. And if G2 wins this out in the end somehow, it's going to be off of adjustments. They were continuing to make adjustments on defense, not necessarily sticking to any one thing, continuing to try and shape things. Oh, which bomb site are we going to play on? We'll try all 4. What operators are we going to continue to switch on, with Fabian kind of playing similar to what Canadian does, playing that flex role of just continuing to try operators to see if you can counter them. Eventually it worked, but maybe a little bit late, 4-2. However, this could be defender-sided at the moment. We could see it easily streak back the other way.
But also,
yeah,
Empire is on defense and Joystick has Jaeger, and you know what that means.
Yeah, that means he's going to be a Roman. Fabian going to be the one to try and play that counter Joystick and try and stop him, as well as they're going to have the Lion right out the gate here. So G2 not banning Lion, well, they're just going to use it. So as I said earlier that I didn't expect either of these two teams to use Lion quite a bit, but I got to say, totally wrong. They're definitely willing to bring out the Lion when they have to. I mean, they didn't right off the bat, but G2 definitely going to say, you know what, you brought out Lion? All right, we can do the same thing. Uno going to be on that. And we're going to see the Mozzie, but no mute here, come out from Empire. They're going to play maybe a little bit more passive with the Jackal and the Lion out, potentially, but never know. Karzeka already, you know what, he's got his batteries down. He's going to play a little more aggressive on that Bandit. Joystick already taken 25 damage. Not a great start for him after getting killed so early with that spawn peak last round as well.
No, not at all. Uno.
Ooh, good trade though, I guess. Him and Uno.
Yeah, it's the battle of the big fraggers, really, and it's completely understandable, right? They take a bit of an equal bit of damage here from one another. But Uno will continue on the line, opening up the hallway that leads into security. It's the windows of it. Fabian continuing to drone, realizing, okay, there's nobody in the bathroom, nobody in penthouse, and we spawned the Jaeger. Fabian, double shot to destroy the hatch here, heading into bathroom, and Joystick fall back. Karzeka holding on to 90, and Empire is kind of taking things slow.
So are G2, though, to be fair. I mean, yes, they've got some control outside Hookah, and they're starting to set up a little bit for pressure on Hookah, which is the smart thing to do. Mozzie going to get tracked there, so that's Dan. Going to have to worry a little bit about Fabian, but it's definitely a little bit slower of an attack, but also a cautious one. They definitely want to make sure that they're able to get some picks on Empire first, preferably, before they push too heavily. But at the same time, they're still setting up. And I gotta say, if Pangu sticks some push onto Hookah's side while they try and push for Aqua, that could be a great play. But Karzeka being allowed to roam here and not being caught, this is the play.
Oh!
Unfortunately, doesn't matter.
Fabian, what a shot! Karzeka lost on his own, and now Dan has to worry about things. He's gonna get spotted, and the drone hole can be used against him. So he's going to fall back very smartly and hold on to the Cool Vibe Stairs solo. Smoke will be used by Shepard as everything is falling in. Flashes, smokes, and E1Ds. Fabian with another kill. Dan missing the Nitro Cell as he gets dropped on the floor. G2 have taken so much damage on the ingress. Even a single goo mine can shut them down. Kanto Raketti onto Scyther, and it will take out the Legion as he went on down. Dan should get picked up here, but instantly Joystick to be cleaned up, as well as stand there. It's already dropped on the floor. G2 with a flawless round. They take so much damage on the entry, but it was more than enough.
Fabian, such a big game changer that round two with the first 2 kills. The first one, yes, he came away with so little HP, but finding a follow-up kill,
yeah,
he was kind of channeling Joystick there in terms of being somewhat of a thorn for them. But Karzeka losing that fight is a big surprise to me, honestly. I really expected him to win that. He is a great fragger when he's in positions like that, especially with Bandit. I guess just good flick there, or just crosshair placement by Fabian, who happened to have his crosshair right at the right spot. Karzeka was also crouched, and that might have made it easier. It might have even been almost more of a reaction shot right on the head, just because he might have had the crosshair around that positioning. It's just not great for Empire, so G2 crawling their way back here. I meant to say attack-sided earlier as well, rather than defense-sided, but it is looking like it could trend the other way around here now that G2's on attack. But also, it's G2 managing to win some of those last rounds on their defense. I feel like that kind of built up the momentum. They showed they could adapt a bit to the way that Empire were playing, and despite losing some points in doing so, they seem to be adapting overall. I gotta wonder, though, if we're going to continue to see more of the Uno Joystick fight show coming out here, and that being a factor early on. I'd almost like to see Joystick get an early pick onto Uno just out of revenge for when he was on attack.
Right now, I think it's really Fabian doing a big part of the work.
I'd say the
for
lion's
G2.
share, but that's Uno, right?
The Jackal's share. I don't know, what is described as the Jackal's share of the work?
Scraps.
It's definitely not what he's doing there. But
No, you can't walk through there, Fabian. Sorry.
you have to be this tall to enter this round. He's gonna play it up from the top on the roof. So, come on in, watch for anybody on rotations, open up the hatch, take control of bathroom at some point. Something that Fabian has been very effective at doing so far, and we saw how he was able to translate that into low HP, but 2 kills that were instrumental in winning out the round. Uno clearing out these windows. You might be asking yourself, why is he taking out the windows to the security hall? Because you're always afraid of Joystick and his Jaeger.
Yeah.
If you can clear him out, that's a position, I mean, security is a position that Joystick loves to play a lot of the time. So this is G2 really adapting to what Empire
That's
is.
kind of Jaeger's room.
Mhm.
It really, I mean, there's so many Jaeger players that play that spot because it works very well for them. And their ability to kind of rotate back if they get pushed too hard and being a 3-speed definitely factors into that, I think. Uno, though, however, is going to try and slow down Joystick with an EE1D early. With a minute 50 left, I would definitely consider that pretty early. It actually looked like he might have used quite a few of them. Karzeka gets pushed back, but Dan, the one to get the kill there.
Oh.
That's on an IQ.
Diffuser's in the back as Kanto Raketti will at least take down Joystick. Pre-fire from Uno into theater, but there's nobody to be found. His bullets, Kanto Raketti finding Karzeka, however. Fabian with another one. Okay. They're just stepping into every single goo mine.
Yeah.
Fabian steps into the goo mines and yet still finds kills off of it. That's the really surprising bit.
Well, that's the thing is you know you're going to get pushed a lot of the time, so you can use that to your advantage.
It's like with Ying, when you hear see or hear one of her
Just start
candelas,
pre-firing.
that's exactly what
Or
you
pull out
do.
your shotgun and just pump.
Most people will just rush in right after it and they will instantly die because that's how you deal with it. Well, with Shepard inside their last 2 alive, you're down on the site. There's a lot of time here, and there's Kanto Raketti with breaching charges, Pengu here that has a sledge, Fabian that also has his ITA. There's just so much flexibility and destruction for G2, so the soft breach is plenty. And will be used to open up pretty much the entirety of the floorboards, pretty much remaking the entirety of the penthouse. I don't know who's paying for that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a penthouse, so they must have some money.
They own the entire place. Yeah, that's a pretty big kitchen for like it's probably like 3 people that live in this house.
Yeah, where's the staff?
Kanto Raketti throwing all of his utility down range. Shepard will watch the back. The evil eye of the Maestro being zapped and taken away by the Zofia. Kanto Raketti eliminated. Smoke all down. Actually, Shepard will find it. An extra smoke down, but Fabian has found Shepard. Scyther on the rotation. All he has to do here is stop the plant from coming down. He's being watched from above. Scyther fires on in, but Pengu pulls out the SMG-11 and wins it out for G2. They tie it 4-4. Man. It's not like we were expecting this game to be a close one.
Right? This definitely could swing towards a tie. I mean, it's technically already tied right now. But G2 could even potentially come out ahead on this. They seem to be a lot more in control. It's very reversed now. They seem to be in somewhat of the control that we saw from Empire, but they play a different game. They play a more flexible game as opposed to Joystick, which are a bit more, not Joystick, Team Empire, which are a bit more rigid on their attack in terms of how they're going to play it. So it's interesting to see that both teams can be successful with different ways of playing it. But Dan, going to go on that roam potentially with that Vigil. Whether or not he'll 6th pick it, hard to say. Because, of course, you don't always want to reveal a Vigil. And if you aren't going to use the 6 picks for anything else, there's not necessarily a purpose to doing that when you know there's an IQ. But, all right, they're going to go with that. No one's 6th picking anything. They're going to be playing on Bar this time. Now, Bar was the starting site for G2, which they struggled with. Whereas Hookah and Kitchen were the starting sites here for Empire that they lost the first 2 rounds. They're not sticking their primary one the same way that we saw G2 play Bar twice. But they're going to be returning, I got to imagine, to those sites. They're playing a bit more of the Vitality style where you switch bomb sites regardless of win or loss. So we'll see if they can hold a lot of this map control this time because G2 seemed to be able to push in very aggressively once they got control last time. And actually G2 used their EE1Ds very early as well, because by the time they went to go for the execute, there was only 1 EE1D left from Lion. So they were definitely using those to help them push for map control early, and I think it paid off. But it's interesting to see that Empire went to use Gridlock to help with that map control in terms of holding it, whereas G2 are not bothering with that. They're not really having any hold. They don't have the Nomad or the the gridlock. Of course, Nomad is banned, so you can't, but I just mean in terms of not having either of those to be able to hold flank.
Well, Pengu coming on up. G2 realizing they need to clear out the top floor. It's, again, the tradition, the usual thing you do before coming on down. And yeah, you mentioned the fact that there's no Nomad, but the Lion and the Jackal definitely help out in this attack. You also mentioned it before. Lion were not really a team that, or Lion, G2 were not really a team.
That's like what I called Empire Joystick.
Exactly. It happens, people. So G2 were never really a team that ran Lion that often.
Yeah, Fabian, would have some words about that.
Yeah, however, even though he played him for like literally the entire season.
Right.
But you needed that advantage in this round, and you're looking
advantage.
Exactly that. You're looking to take down Joystick, and that was a free kill. It took no utility to open it up, and that's why it's so free.
It's so free.
Well, here's another E1D being used. Kanto Rocketti and Pengu with a kill each, leaving Scyther and Shepard on the floor, all on their own. Uno will come in and even try to destroy things with his own, the V308. Scyther coming on up from Cool Vibe stairs, but there's not really much that can be found. Nitro Cell did miss his target just a few seconds ago, so G2 are looking pretty for it. There's a lot of time left on the clock, and Scyther will come on in and easily get shot. Fabian lying down right on the sofa here.
He's taking a break. A killing break. A roaming Shepard here. Playing so
what
far
Shepherds
offside.
usually do.
Right? They usually making others to stop roaming, but that's exactly what he's doing, is shepherding G2 right there.
Finds one kill. There's still one coming around from the blue bar, and that's Pengu taking out Shepard. The SMG-11 diffuser was already set, and G2 take handle on this matchup.
Seeing a mirror match so far, Empire won their first 3 attacks, and now G2 have as well. One thing I got to say that Empire aren't doing that G2 maybe did a little bit better is drone denial. G2 brought out the Mozzie and the Mute a lot of the time, or at least the Mozzie. Empire are not bringing out anything to deny drones. Because of that, you're seeing them caught off guard a lot. G2 are obviously doing a good job droning, not to mention jackling. Pretty much all the positions you see people like Joystick, who normally is able to be very flexible, getting caught off guard. And of course, this is a map where that can be difficult to play as loose as Joystick likes to do. But at the same time, like, getting caught by drones is certainly not going to help that. They seem to have the intel and the positioning a lot of times to capitalize on it, possibly also following those drones. So that's working out very well for them. They're able to just pick off one member of Empire at a time, leave them in positions where they can't crossfire or trade for each other, just taking out these lone players. And,
oh, what?
Well, I guess Shepard.
That's the wrong guy, man.
Yeah, the nice shot coming out from Uno. This is not going to be a good round for Empire. That's always so tilting. It is really hard to recover a round after an accidental team kill, just in terms of mentally, especially now that you've lost some utility. I don't think all the black eyes were up, as well as he had a C4 in his pocket, so a lot of utility lost. Joystick saying, maybe I could just trade that off with a spawn kill. And he is not going to get a free kill in return. They should just give him one. Sacrifice Uno.
Menyen nravitsa, as they say. It's not. I don't like that. No, it wasn't great. Scyther. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know how I know that, but.
Whoa, it's your secret sleep programming tapes. Whoa, nice early kills. Joystick does find one, but Goga finds Dan to trade it off, and that is another important operator. And Joystick also very low on health. No doc here on Empire to be able to heal him back up, and a reset certainly not going to do a whole lot for him. So G2 look like they could take another round despite the loss of Pengu and some grenades.
I think they'll be okay, but Karajeka will find another. They turn it into a 3v3. Karajeka, a beautiful run out here. As Empire are looking for a tie. It's now a possibility in the 3v3. There's no Kanto Rocketti or Pengu to worry about. The SMG-11 was definitely tearing through Empire in a previous round.
The advantage over to G2, though, because they've got some good utility, plus Joystick low on health, and no one from G2 that's left hurt.
You know, one thing actually G2 has been doing, no need for hard bridge, right?
Yeah, they're not spending a choice on the Habana, and that gives them a little more flexibility. Instead, they go with an extra soft breacher in Sledge. as well as having the IQ to be able to spot any kind of gadget they need to. Interesting to see an electrified shield there as well.
Does help out if somebody's just trying to move towards it. A bit of chip damage or even some drones being caught out maybe in the latter half of the round. Fabian, though, turning around, same style of reinforcement with side to side, right, left, and center is open and soft. Karjika with one on Goga. Shepard is completely flashed out as Fabian will find him. A bit of chip damage has been done. Karjika will have to dive on out. And now he'll need support from his teammate. The Evil Eye is giving information, but it's a bit too slow. Diffuser has not been set just yet, but Empire realized that they have the advantage in this because there'll only be one rifle for them to contend with. Karjika, what a shot onto Fabian. It's a 3K for him. E1D used up by Uno, and Diffuser is still in hookah. Karjika's playing from downstairs now in the Sun Bar, and Diffuser will finally be picked up by Uno, who has to come on back down to the site. He has one E1D to use, but he'll go for the plant. Freeze Karjika in place for just a moment. But before the Diffuser is done, Karjika will be able to come in and using the reinforced wall to his advantage. Joystick on the opposite end as well. It's a 2v1. There's not much that Uno can do either.
Mirror match continues.
So, potential for tie?
Certainly looks that way. I gotta say, though, the smart play for me that they made right there that saved that round was they baited each other. On the Cool Vibe stairs, Joystick fired at an angle while Karjika just completely held his in a position where he wasn't going to be spotted till he spotted them. In doing so, basically Joystick baited out the player to come behind that deployable shield. And of course, being behind the deployable shield, he knows they're probably not going to be at crouch because they're peeking it. So he knows exactly where to aim at head level, just over that deployable shield. So just the bait like that, and then the rotate by Joystick to come around while Karjika went to actually stop the defuse plant. Just beautiful teamwork saved that round right there between two of the top fraggers on the team. So, I don't know, really well executed despite an early team kill. So despite what I said about it being hard to win a round after a team kill, the clutch moments at the end are what really saved that. And that's the strength of Empire, is the playing with each other, the teamwork they have. And that's something that G2 had very well as well for a while. It's just, they have very different play styles, but they both know how to work very cohesively as a unit, despite G2's notoriously bad comms, according to Pengu.
Do you really want to take it as gospel?
No, I believe everything Pengu says. Which is why I know there are so many hackers out there right now.
I mean, there are.
Oh, really? That was the sarcasm in that. For once, he can be right.
Reddit will have a.
I'm just
like to know your location.
Right. I'm just waiting till one of the streams now where the ban wave just floods the screen.
Alrighty then. Well, G2 on the recovery. They did recover from the fact that Empire had complete control earlier on. Now, Karjika will run the Mozzie.
There we go, finally.
Yeah, and that's something we saw in Empire's match on Cafe. And it was
probably more important than running the Bandit.
Yeah, and it worked out very, very well for Empire in that perspective. And knowing that there's no Heartbreach being ran by G2, there's no reason to have any such, operator there. Cantor Raketi, though, what a shot on Joystick. Joystick has been shut down this entire matchup.
Yeah.
The use of the Lion and the Jackal is just completely shutting down.
He should know how that feels. He does that to them now.
Yeah.
It's only fair. I like the way that Uno's been using the Lion, though, to get the map control consistently. He's using it to keep it in situations where they have some idea where the defenders might be, or where they're not at least, and continue to use that information, hold them down. Maybe the tracks might have been more effective at that late round than the EE1Ds, but we did see it slow down Karjika last round on his attempted clutch. Oh, Kanto, though, looking for a freebie, not finding it. Goomine going to give away a little bit of intel to Dan as well. But now the breach charges start to come out as they have that top floor control. A minute and a half in is really good. G2 looking like they're in a great position despite a little bit of damage to Goga because they have the man advantage and the map control now. C4, though, doesn't change any of that.
No damage done here from Karjika. I had no information on what he's supposed to do. All right next to him. The Lion will freeze him in place, and there's no grenade follow-up from Pengu. I don't think even Pengu spotted Karjika in this position as it continues to destroy a lot of the floorboard here. No fire set towards him just yet. I'll remind you again, Capitao was banned, so you would have probably seen Capitao in some sort of effect had he been available. And Karjika running the P10 Rooney with his extended barrel, something that many people have been doing so far, and it works out pretty darn well.
A lot of angles now being set up by G2 as they look to try and push a lot of the players into certain positions, but it's not leading to a lot of kills. That's giving them some advantage, especially as Shepard gets Fabian's face. But they try and lock it down with E1D, and it doesn't lead to kill on Shepard, unfortunately.
Grenade. It does not connect with Karjeka, unfortunately, for G2. All smokes have been expended right now. There's 15 seconds left. So if this diffuser is just stopped, then you'll be good to go. Karjeka, nobody chopping him from the top. He pre-fires and kills Goga, and that's probably all that's required right now. Oh, what a snapshot into Kanto Raketti. And the last one, no, he's still alive. Pengu can't go for the diffuser. There's no time left. And Team Empire will put a round on the board. It means they'll have an extra point at the end of the day. Now, how will this go? Will Empire find one more round to make it a 7-5 victory, or will G2 tie it up?
Well, they broke the mirror match streak now because it wasn't 2 in a row for Empire on their attack there. So now that that's been broken, that's good because you caught the 6 early, which puts more pressure on G2 than being in the other position. They will go back to bar. And again, I think it was important that they went with the Mozzie to deny the droning. So it surprises me that they're not, this time unless they 6th pick to it, instead going with the Legion and Dan on the Vigil, which again, they don't need to be revealing. They could have gone with anything else in the 6th pick, but they're not going to have a Maestro, something G2 played pretty consistently. So that could be something that works against them, especially if smokes are allowed to do some work. Obviously, the only smokes they're going to have, though, are Fabians. So he's got to stay alive, much like I was saying about Joystick before. But either way, Empire not only guarantee themselves a point, but also continue to push G2 down in the charts. And that's not great for G2.
That's what matters. Not only are you denying or giving yourself extra points, but you're also denying G2 any extra.
Which is important, because Empire is likely to stay towards the top anyways. It's just they continue to keep their competition from creeping up on them.
Well, right now, this team are in top Pro League with 4 played matches and 4 victories with 12 points. They're sitting pretty with plus 19 round differential. But their toughest matches are yet to come. Empire here with 9 points. They're looking for 3 to tie Lust Team, but 1 would give them 10 and leave Lust Team just a bit above them. There's a potential for later on as these teams have not played.
Yeah, Lust Team hasn't played Empire, and so I think that's the real big. That's the match of the day for me coming up.
Those are the last 2 matches of this first half. We played in number 6 and 7 on July 15th and the 22nd. And that's where we'll have Lust Team versus G2, and then Lust Team versus Empire.
Yeah, those will be some good matches. But in the meantime, this is the last round of this match, guaranteed. And it's just a big question mark as to whose it's going to be, because G2 hasn't made any more adjustments in terms of their operator lineup. Empire actually regressing a little bit in their changes. So will we see some repeat, some mirror match here? I think it's likely to be a draw the way this is being played out, but G2 are kind of showing how they play this now, and Empire can adjust their playstyle accordingly. But that being said, their roamers can get shut down, and I think some of the opening kills here are really going to be the big decider because of how close this is at this point.
I mean, Joystick hasn't really had the biggest of impact on the matchup, and there he goes dying. But Karjeka found one on Fabian.
That's important.
Jackal and the smokes are now eliminated.
Yeah, that's going to really stop a potential easy push for a plant. EE1D at least doing some work, though, in detecting Scyther.
Yeah, still some people not realizing that the E1D does not work on Vigil when he has his ERC activated. So if you want to deal with the Lion, the Vigil works very well, and that explains why Dan is bringing this operator this time around and not the Mozzie as we saw in the previous ones. Different site, you don't really need the same style of play for the Nitro Cell. And this gives you more flexibility.
Well, that's why you have a Gogo look for him when Lion's going off.
Oh, Pengu, what a shot. Scyther eliminated, an advantage for G2. Uno solo on HP, a shot away from death.
That's important because if he still has an EE1D in his pocket, it's going to be used for plant.
Yeah, I don't know if we can take a look at that here, Marcio. Does Uno have anything left? Yes, he still has 1.
Got to save that 1 for the execute. That's been the pattern so far, is 2 for roam clear, 1 for execute.
So, Pengu looking on down. He's found the foot, but it's not really an angle that you can use. He's going to sit pretty here, right on the hookah angle. We're on 33 seconds, and Karjeka is actually coming in for the flank. If Pengu is eliminated here, then the entire back is down for G2. Everybody will freeze in position, including Dan. Karjeka turning around will impact up and will not find the kill just yet. It's Dan to find one. Udo on the refrag. The Lion is playing it well. Shepard turning in as Pengu is now sitting right behind the top floor. Pengu will find one on Karjeka. It's Shepard all on his own. That's a triple kill. And Kanto Roketi turns around the corner, finds the head of Shepard, and that's round and match done. G2 tie at 6-6. Congratulations here for, well, Empire in the end, because G2 might have drawn, but...
Congratulations for G2 for not losing.
Yeah, I mean, it got pretty close. They did bring it on back. It required a lot of